about way cash crisis works.
Talking about Venezuela once again.
Systemic important banks. They removed the one factor called monetary awareness. Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some more RTD news updates. And so I just came across a couple great articles I want to share with you of the illusion of a economic expansion and how on the surface everything seems to be very good, but yet you have articles such as people being house rich but cash poor. Then you have the next generation or Generation Z expecting to receive some type of inheritance from their parents and their grandparents. And then you have the idea that not only is just the cost of everything going up around us, but yet even the cost of having a new car nowadays seems to be hitting record highs. And so before I dive into today's articles, as always, I want to encourage you to take time to read for yourself to find out more of what's going on. But before we dive into it, as always, new to RTD, I want to encourage you to click the subscribe button along with the notification tab to be informed of future updates as well as live streams. Also join me on Twitter where I share posts throughout the day on various subject matters dealing with our monetary system as well as whatever's happening in the news that I can't get to via video. Make sure you click the button down below to be notified when things are posted. So today I have 3 articles I want to share with you, all dealing with just things that just really stood out to me when I was combing through the news today. And the very first article here talks about the idea that America is house rich but cash poor. It says these businesses see opportunity. And so it's a quite lengthy article, but yet if you thumb through it, it gives you an idea of the fact that a lot of people right now are really holding on to their homes in expectation of it continue to appreciate in value. So a lot of people have a lot of equity in their homes because they're appreciating, because housing prices are at all-time highs and whatnot. And so there's companies out here that's being positioned to basically buy a share of the equity in your home to help people who are cash strapped. And so it gives a story here of a gentleman who owns a home out in California somewhere. It was appraised for 1.2, but he says he has about $500,000 in equity, and he really can't sell it right now for that amount because several reasons. His family's there now, his kids, they have memories there. So he doesn't want to just get rid of that, and he wants to take advantage of it because on the other end, he's strapped for cash. So there's a company that he came across called Unison that he ended up partnering with them, and they basically fronted him close to $200,000 in cash that allowed him to take care of some bills and do home improvements and things of that nature. So it seems to be a trend that's picking up where people are recognizing the fact that there's a lot of equity in their homes. So they're trying to get some of that cash out with the idea that their house will continue to appreciate in value so they won't come out on the other end or the short end of the stick. So give an idea what's going on here. It talks more about the idea that according to any analysis from the Atom data, nearly 15 million Americans are now equity rich, meaning they have at least 50% equity in their homes. It said it bears repeating that many owners and communities are not so lucky. It says over 1 million Americans are underwater, and some cities and towns are still really under the weight of abandoned and vacant homes and stagnant micro economies. So it gives a good idea. It says this giant pool of equity. So it just basically gives you an idea of the housing prices over the last couple years. And it says here back in, of course, 2008-09, it was at about 12 or 11 or so trillion dollars worth of equity available in the housing sector. And then of course we know what happened after that. All that was just wiped away. A lot of people lost their homes. So here we are now, 2018 Q1, and it's 14.95 trillion. And so for those that are in the alternative media space and those that are awake and aware, everyone realizes that this course is not sustainable. This thing will not continue to climb much higher before there needs to be a correction. And I'm no analyst or anything like that or chart person, but I would just assume that this drop from 14.9 will go well below this last drop, which took it down to about 6 trillion worth of equity in real estate. So, and as I read through this, a lot of people are strapped with debt, i.e. credit card debt, student loan debt, car debt, you name it. So there's not much disposable income at the end of the day. So companies like this will definitely be of use to a lot of people. But then at the very end, it talks about the idea that some people are aware of the consequences of basically selling a share of their home. And it's all subject to the housing market continue to rise. And they're more than aware that if this economy continues to rise, everything is fine. But the moment that there's a dip, they will lose their house. And all of these companies forming these new partnerships with these residents here will lose out big time. And it just, in my opinion, I'm sure you probably would agree that any time now, because the housing market is overly inflated, there will be a correction. And there's going to be a lot of people on the short end of these type of deals here losing their houses and probably walking away further in debt as their houses and their livelihood will be underwater. So more information there if you're interested to read for yourself, but it's just very indicative of where we're at as an economy and how people are choosing to live the high life at the cost of losing it all in the future. due to housing prices and just the cost of living in general. So read more for yourself if you're interested. Next one here I thought was very, very telling, because I've recently myself noticed how I see more and more people working service sector jobs, low income jobs or whatever, but yet they're driving really nice cars. And I'm thinking like, man, that is a major commitment on your part to basically, you know, probably allocate a good chunk of your income towards a nice vehicle. And so here it says U.S. monthly auto payments reach record high in the first quarter. It says new vehicle loans average $31,455, Experian data show. It says average monthly payment for new vehicles at a record high of $523 a month. So not only do you have mortgage costs, which are of course going up, but in order to drive a nice car and to park that nice car in your driveway, you're going to have to pay nice penny for that as well. So here's a chart just showing how since the quarter one of 2013, monthly payments on average was $459, and now we're at $523. And the thing is, how high can this thing go? As long as credit is as available as it is now, and as long as our economy is dependent on easy financing, the prices right here are sure to skyrocket even higher. And then the very last article here, which is very telling of just the future generation in regards to the entitlement mentality and just expectation of just having a hand extended towards them in the form of really counting on the idea of their parents putting in all the work, saving, doing all the responsible things, and leaving a little something aside for the children to inherit down the line. It says millions of Americans are counting on family money to be financially stable. It says 1 in 3 Americans say their financial stability is dependent on receiving an inheritance. It says for Generation Z, which is age 18 to 22, this number jumps to 63%, despite 87% describing their approach to financial decisions as do it myself. It says planning ahead is smart, but relying on money that may never materialize is not, said Aaron Levine, head of the Merrill Edge. Says we're never seen such a strong reliance on receiving an inheritance, he said. He said the 1,000 respondents in the Merrill Edge survey said they were most likely to describe the stock market as volatile, 34%. Although it doesn't appear to be deterring them from investing. It says most Americans, 57%, say that they made money in the stock market in the past year with Generation X-ers, 67%, and those older, 68%, citing the most financial gains. So here we have the idea that the younger generation recognize the idea that baby boomer generations and whatnot is entering into retirement. A lot of the parents have been financially responsible, done everything they can to set aside funds for their retirement, and they have the expectation of being able to live comfortably with those finances and whatever's left over along the way, give or take health situations and whatnot, and longevity and the longevity of their life, they'll probably have something at the end of the day to pass down to their children. But if you are of the alternative mind and aware of what's happening around us and recognize the crumbling of our financial fabric of this country here, it would be good to say that all of this type of stuff here is dependent upon, of course, the stock market and the equity in homes. And so as long as those two things continue to rise, there's promise and there's light at the end of the tunnel. But just say, for example, that is not the case, and there is a market correction, which a lot of hedge fund managers, economists, all the people that are out here giving signs and telling people that there's another hiccup, there's another cliff on the horizon that we're bound to approach pretty soon. That will let me know that I wouldn't put much trust in the stock market to continue to climb, as well as the equity in my home continue to appreciate, or the value of my home continue to appreciate, providing that false illusion of a high net worth when it's all tied into things that we all know are extremely inflated and overvalued. So just want to shine some light on the subject matter. Would love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts. Are you one of the Generation X or Generation Z that are expecting something from their parents, or are you being a little bit more proactive and informing your parents that perhaps they shouldn't really rely upon what they've set aside solely to get them through their retirement age? So I would love to find out what your thoughts are on this matter. Leave a comment down below. Look forward to bringing you more RTD news updates.
It's the next recession.
Recession will be a recession.
We're going to hit a recession.
The date of the next recession.
A U.S.-only recession typically lasts 8 to 10 months, but a lot of things about this particular one have not been typical. So
a crash is coming. Now, whether it's 6 months from now, 12 months, 36 months, no one knows.
I go to bed every night, I dream of another recession. If you know what to do, if you have the right plan to set up, you can make a lot of money from this.